All right, so the DL3. We had the step-by-step for this for a little while now, but I'll show you how to do it in 3D now. It's not a very difficult fly to tie. We started doing the A to Z's a little bit ago, and then I just walked in the shop one day, and Daryl and his love affair with SF fibers just threw some SF fibers out the back, and I was like, man, that looks so much better that way. You know, just got a little bit more volume on the back end. So I was like, okay, done and done. Let's do it. Let's add it to the mix. So A to Z with some SF fibers, and you got the DL3. It's a little bit meatier than the A to Z, or the A to Z variation. You know, it's the medium-sized guy. It's good tarpon, snook, redfish. You know, just good pattern for midsummer when the bait's just a little bit bigger than, you know, early spring. So tied on an SC15 2.0 or whatever other short shank equivalent hook you want to do. I'll show you how. Let's do it. All right, so DL3. I've been tying this guy for a hot minute. Haven't had the video. A few of you guys have been struggling with how to get the brush over the game change eyes, so I'll show you. It's not rocket science. Materials are going to be the same as the A to Z. 3-inch craft fur brush, 1.5-inch minnow brush, game change eyes. This time we're going to add some SF fibers. Okay, this stuff is probably the closest thing we have to unicorn hair. Really, I pretty much spent my entire professional fly tying life hating this stuff, but now I just have this giant love affair with it, and yeah, I'll show you how we do it. So hooks, again, you can probably scale up or scale down, however you see fit, but we're gonna do Gamakatsu SC15 2.0. It's a good hook. It's a good tarpon hook. It's a good snook hook. Hooks don't really matter for redfish. So, all right, olive thread. This is the Everglades hay color scheme in the DL3. Had to switch it up a little bit. Use our fancy pants thread bobbin, or thread bobbin threader. Getting better at that. Just a little practice, you know, just like any fly tying operation. Just need a little practice. All right, let's start at the eye of the hook. Wind it on to just past the bend, and we'll put a little bit of a thread ball right where she starts to make a downward trend. All right, so our thread is hanging perpendicular to the hook shank. It's not back here, it's right there. So SF fiber in mullet brown. I got some over here all ready to go. When you get these things, make sure you put a zip tie on the top of them. That will save you plenty of frustration. I don't know why they don't come with a zip tie on there. Maybe we can start a change.org Facebook petition and get Mr. Farrar to start putting hanks on there. So anyway, just jumped way ahead of what I'm doing here. We're going to cut off a little piece, and we're going to cut it in half. We'll pull out the long guys. When you're done with this and it's tight, it should be maybe 1/4 of a pencil. Maybe if I had to ballpark it, 70 or 80 strands of SF fibers. You're going to see here now that it's all kind of, looks like a paintbrush. All the ends are the same length. So lay it on your table, spread it out a little bit like this, and then pull the center out. Just give it a little bit of a taper, and you can kind of get it all in the right spot before you clump it all back together, and it's not so manufactured looking anymore. Put it all back together. Give a little twist to the fingers. See how much better that looks? I'm gonna do maybe 3.5, 4 inches. It can be however the hell long you want it to be. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of up to you. I'm going to tie mine about 3.5, 4 inches. And then you're going to attach it on the hook shank and wrap your thread back to right where your little thread ball starts. And that little thread ball is going to help kind of keep this stuff from fouling and kind of keep it in the right spot. Quick trim or a quick brush and marker. Maybe put a few bars in this if you fancy them. Ah, oops, a little slip there. We'll be all right. All right, so bring your thread back to on top of the SF fiber ball here. Let it hang, and now we're gonna need minnow head brush. No, craft fur brush, sorry. That's the minnow head brush. We're not using that yet, stand by. I got olive and brown here. I already got a pack open. Well, it's waste not, want not. All right, grab this stuff here and kind of just tease these fibers back. Cut that top little stem off and tie it in right on top of the SF fibers. And then just wrap forward. And now we're basically tying the A to Z again. We'll bring the thread to just in front of the hook point. Grab our hackle pliers and start wrapping. I think we're probably going to do somewhere in the ballpark of 9 to 10. We're at 2 there, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we're going to wrap this stuff pretty tight. You should get 2 flies out of each brush. If that makes sense. You're going to use half of this brush on one fly and then half of the brush on the other fly. You should be getting somewhere in the ballpark of a dozen flies out of the brushes in the kit. If you're getting less, you're using too much. If you're getting more, well, okay, you're efficient. I'll give it to you that way. I'll give you that much. Do a little tease in here. Pluck these guys out. Where's my finger brush? My finger brush. I like this stuff for grabbing these fibers and really kind of pulling them out. All right, and that's looking pretty solid. A little bit thicker with 2 C's than the A to Z. It's got a little more body. All right, so now let's do this. Game change eyes. Don't be afraid. Using the golden color. I want to say these are the 4-inch or 4 millimeter. 5 millimeter. That's close. It's a millimeter off. All right. Trick with these guys is you got to start them further back. If you start them too far forward, your fly is going to look stupid. So we're going to tie these things in just like they were dumbbell eyes or lead eyes, and we're going to pull them as far back as we can. And we're just going to get a few securing wraps on them. Check them to make sure they're level. This is usually where I screw up. A little bit of Zap Gel. A little chocolate coating makes it go down easy. Anybody? Anybody? Anybody know the movie? Ah. All right, now we're just gonna smash these things in there and put a bunch of wraps over them. Don't really be too worried about what this is gonna look like and how much thread is on here, because we're gonna cover it all up. You're not gonna see it, and this is what's gonna help keep your fly durable. I've heard some of the knocks on these eyes is that they snap in the middle, and that is true. That will happen to you eventually. However, if you go ahead and you put all of these thread wraps over it with the Zap Gel, it might break in the middle, but the fly is going to stay together, and it's going to take a lot longer to actually break. Now we're up to the minnow head brush. 1.5 inch minnow brush, backcountry. Get you a piece from earlier. Pull this back, and you're just going to tie it in right behind the eyes. Just enough to secure it. And then you're going to bring the thread back to the eye of the hook. Now's when things get tricky. All right, so we're going to put 3 wraps behind the eyes. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And they're nice and snug up against game change eyes now. Now, we're going to bring the brush from below, and we're going to bring them over top of the eyes, as far away from us as we can. Then we're going to do it again, right in front of it, just in front of that wrap. And then we're going to do it again, 3rd time, over it, other side of the hook shank. Okay? See how the eyes are now covered. And now we're going to put 3, 4, 5, whatever we can fit in front of the eyes. I'm running low on this brush here, so I'm probably going to jam as much of this on there as humanly possible. Also, that's because it's kind of my style. All right, so we'll do 4. I think that was 4. It might have been 5. I'm not really good at counting. I'm a mediocre fly tyer, but I'm a pretty crappy counter of numbers. All right, let's pull this back here. Tie this off. Grab your flush cutters. Tie that just like that. Now pull all these fibers back. And just get in there and hammer this thing down. Just whip finish, because we're done with that. And trim. Time to give this little guy a haircut. Be careful. Actually, I'm gonna save myself the trip to the hospital on this side. And use something with a little bit more length to it, so I don't jam that hook point directly into my index finger. Start with the sides. Just kind of put your razor up against the eyes and just kind of touch up the sides. Turn it over. Get the bottom. Whew, that hook is sharp. That was close. You guys see that? That was almost, there was almost a bloody incident there. Not like a English bloody incident, like a trauma scene. All right, take the bottom here. Hit the bottom or hit the top like that, and then come in with your scissors. Finish it off. Hold it like such. And now, take your scissors, and don't just trim at it like this, or like this. Just hold it upside down, take your scissors, and come in here, and you can actually taper this thing a little bit, and just kind of work from the bottom of the fly up. Looks still just a little bit manufactured right there, so I'll just take a little bit more out of it. Perfect. All right, I like that profile. That looks good. Throw it back in there and yeah, cement it. A little loon thin. Little dab on there. One time I did a little dab on there, and Chris Humphreys in fly tying night was like, please don't ever do that again. And I'm like, bro, you're a high school teacher, like, and a dad. You should be all about these dad jokes. He wasn't having it. Shout out to Chris Humphreys. There it is. All right, you can sit here and trim this thing for hours if you really want to. And to be honest with you, I really do want to, but I'm trying to quit. So there, done. Leave it alone. It's beautiful. It's all it needs to be. It's going to work like a champ. Stop touching it. DL3.